30, Saturdays till 3. Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens and Nursery, Southeast 38th Street in Ocala, keeping Ocala in bloom for 70 years.
Each morning, we wake up thankful to live in a free nation with liberty and justice for all. But sometimes those liberties can be put in jeopardy, and you may have questions about what to do or who to call. Let Doc Blanchard of Blanchard, Miriam, Adele, and Kirkland help you find the answers. Attorneys at law since 1974 and located in downtown Ocala. If you have legal issues, don't go it alone. Call 352-732-7218. Blanchard, Miriam, Adele, and Kirkland, helping protect your liberties every day.
Get it for less at the DIY Home Center outlet. Get top quality real wood cabinets the same or less than the big box stores are selling the cheap stuff. And that's not all. Drywall screws big box stores are $6.47 a pound. At DIY, only $4.99. Plus, DIY has the largest selection of mobile home parts and accessories anywhere. From carpet to doors, get the DIY supplies you need for less. The DIY Home Center outlet. We are your building material closeout store. 2191 Northwest 10th Street, just 2 miles east of I-75.
Now you've done it. Have you lost your mind? He's back. And you're listening again. A legend in his own mind. Don't believe me? Just ask him. Here's Tom Schmitz live on WOCA. The Source.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks. On a Thursday, you know, everything that was the pandemic just caused problems. 2 years after the start of the pandemic, 57% of job seekers say the lack of skills and access to training prevent them from applying to a job they want, according to a new poll by Goodwill. Women of color are among the most likely to say they saw a job they wanted but couldn't apply because they didn't have the skills or training required. Overall, 54% of adults don't feel they have a stable, well-paying job that lets them have a comfortable quality of life. Those experiencing hurdles around skills and training are also more likely to have experienced loss of hours, pay, and even jobs available to them, particularly the Latino community, young people, and adults in the lower income brackets. Well, Goodwill and its Rising Together initiative are working to address the skills shortage for job seekers and career advancers. And here to talk to us about that is Goodwill President and CEO, Stephen Preston. Mr. Preston, good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
Let's talk about your poll that Goodwill did. What were the results of that poll that showed workers may not have access to jobs they want?
Yeah, this is a really important poll given the time that we're in right now, Tom. You know, we read so much about the job market, 11.5 million open jobs right now, unfilled jobs, and in many cases, companies are saying, we can't fill those jobs because we can't find people with the skills they need. At the same time, we have very low unemployment, and you hear people saying things like, well, anybody who wants a job can get a job right now. You know, employment's very low. But if you dig deeper, it's much bigger than the low unemployment rate. You see tens of millions of people who are unable to get full-time work, who are in full-time work but don't make enough money to take care of themselves and their families, and want something better. So we went out and did this poll to say, we see the statistics. What are you experiencing? Does the job market feel as good to you as it looks? And if not, what are you seeing? And what the poll said was the following. The majority of people told us, as you mentioned just a few minutes ago, I can't, you know, the job I'm in right now does not allow me to make enough money to support myself well or see growth opportunities. And so we said, well, what are your experiences in finding a job? Consistently, people came forward and said, I have found a better job that I like, but I can't apply for it because I don't have the skills I need. I want that job, but I don't qualify for it. And in many cases, people actually did apply for jobs and got turned away because they didn't have the skills they need. So we said, well, if you had an opportunity to get training for skills or get other support in finding a new job, would you actually take the time to use those? And, you know, overwhelmingly people said, yes, I want to get those skills. I want to move into those jobs. I don't know how to do it. I don't know what that pathway looks like. And I think that's such an important answer because you got, you know, millions of open jobs that are good and millions of people who could use those jobs if they had the skills. And we just got to bridge that gap for people. It's a tremendous opportunity for our society. and we need to figure out how to solve it. And that's where Goodwill comes in, because that's what we do. We support people in their job search.
Tell me what Rising Together is.
So Rising Together was our recognition at Goodwill that there are a lot of companies out there who want to be part of solving this problem. So we went out there and we basically said, well, work with us. What can you provide job seekers, or how can you help us in our work with job seekers to help them get those better jobs? So we brought together this coalition of companies, and they're doing two things. Number one, they're funding programs in a number of local markets. Number two, they're also saying, well, you know what? My company offers certain things that may be helpful. For example, Indeed.com is the largest job search engine out there. Well, Indeed came to us and said, let us help you with local job fairs. You can, your participants in your program can come into Indeed.com, and we'll support them in their job search online. Google and Coursera came together and said, let us provide you with access to our online digital classes, so you can learn digital skills. So you might be able to learn how to use certain programs or how to navigate on the computer effectively. Lyft came in and said, you know, a lot of people can't get, don't have transportation to job interviews, or if they get a job, they may not have transportation the first couple of weeks. Let us give you some free vouchers to help people get that transportation until they get on their feet. So it's kind of bringing together what those companies already do well in some cases, and bringing it directly to the people who need the support in their pathway to a better job.
We got about 4 minutes left talking with Steve and Preston. Mr. Preston, when did Goodwill launch this initiative, and what was the impetus behind it?
So we launched the initiative late last year, and we brought in the initial group of companies. And we launched it because we felt like we have this huge network. We have over 600 job centers across North America and over 3,300 stores. And so we can reach people, number one. And number two, our mission is to help people move into jobs and move into better jobs so they can support themselves. So we said, well, gosh, this is what we already do, and we have this incredible footprint. If we can bring more companies into this picture, we can reach people. And if they can give us, this great support to help those people, we're the ones that can be able to deliver that. So we thought it was a great sort of 1-2 punch. What many people don't realize about Goodwill is we are the largest provider of job training and support and placement services of any nonprofit. And this has been our mission for 120 years. People know us for the stores, but what they don't realize is the mission is to provide people with the support they need to take care of themselves.
We talked earlier about who was affected by this. How did the pandemic disproportionately affect people of color and women in particular?
Well, we saw, obviously we saw, health outcomes during the pandemic were much more difficult for people of color. We saw greater unemployment among people of color. Now, obviously, over the last, couple of years, as we have kind of built back the labor force, many of those things have changed. But in our survey, what we found is that particularly women of color have reported that they are unable to get the jobs that they want because of the skills gap. So, people are out there saying, gosh, I want that job. I don't have the skills I need. I wish I could get those skills. And that narrative is particularly strong among women of color.
Tell people that are listening how they can get involved and where they can find out more information.
Well, if in Central Florida, you can go to Goodwill CFL. CFL is for Central Florida, goodwillcfl.org, and connect with the local Goodwills in that area. And you can find things like, job connection centers and skills programs. If you're interested in working for Goodwill, which is also a very important part of our mission, you can find out how to work, apply for a job locally. You can also find the stores through that network. We need our donors and we need our shoppers to keep these programs alive. If you're interested in looking more nationally at what's out there, you can go into goodwill.org, and you can go into that website. You can actually apply for jobs through the Indeed Goodwill partnership right online. You can get online job support through various classes and sort of instructions on how to improve your resume writing and that type of thing right online. But Goodwill CFL is how you can find out how to connect locally, which is, it's always great. It's great to connect with people and those stores and those job centers locally.
Goodwill President and CEO Stephen Preston, thanks so much for joining us today.
All right, you take care. Thank you.
We'll be right back at this timeout. You're listening to Ocala Talks, hour number 3, just around the corner. WOCA, The Source.
USA Radio News with Lance Pry.
One of the nation's largest liquefied natural gas facilities will shut down for 3 weeks. The closure of the Freeport LNG plant in Texas comes after an explosion Wednesday morning caused damage to it. The facility provides about 20% of the nation's LNG processing. An investigation into the explosion is underway. Vice President Kamala Harris announced $3.2 billion to address what the Biden administration considers to be key causes of people rushing the